Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, there are some huge things that happen as of today with the PlayStation console and Sony. Now, as you guys may or may not know, there's been a few ongoing lawsuits, both for PlayStation, Xbox, and even sometimes even like Steam, the Nintendo Switch, etc. Or even if you guys were really on top of the crypto markets, even one of the biggest crypto exchanges was actually basically sued for $4 billion. But right now, we've also been seeing even more stuff plaguing the gaming industry with things like Fortnite, having very, very big cases against like basically how they're selling products to kids and how they basically have like really bad anti-consumer practices. And in certain other regions such as Europe, etc., sometimes will be a little bit more stingent and more hardcore when it comes to how they're affecting consumers, how companies are basically producing stuff and how they're allowing like refunds or how they're allowing the price points, monopoly laws, everything. And right now, Sony is actually in some big drama, or lack of better terms, and probably the same title of the YouTube video, Sony was basically caught ripping people off. Now, I'm not exaggerating on this one. There's a huge case of billions of dollars that now has been apparently been pushed throughout the legal law. So we're going to go talk about this big drama. So make sure you guys are subscribed when it comes to it. And of course, when it comes to being ripped off, you're not going to be ripped off over here because we have a bunch of really cool deals and promotions all linked down below. And technically a hashtag ad, but we have a bunch of cool Samsung SSDs all linked down below. We have a bunch of games linked down below. We have a bunch of cool Dyson air purifiers and fans, and also even Best Buy signups, which gives you a bunch of cool bonuses as well. So those are all linked down below in the comment section and description if you guys want to go check those on out. We have the Twitter and Twitch room as well if you guys would like to follow. I'll probably stream up on Twitch tonight, and of course give me your thoughts and comments all throughout the video itself. So first and foremost, if you guys have missed it, there was a huge lawsuit. Like I'm talking like some big boy big head honcho lawsuits that came over here, and there was now a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit over PlayStation Store prices. Now, you guys may or may not have heard, but there's been a big similar class action lawsuit against Steam. Now, Steam is basically the really big like buyer and seller eShop of video games for PC, and Sony obviously is PlayStation, so they have their own eShop. They have the PlayStation Store. They have in-store objects. So think you go to Best Buy, Target, buy a video game, whatever, and that's kind of where this is coming into. Both on a similar thing of Steam, but as well also, well, they're just basically trying to rip people off. So basically, the lawsuit is accusing the PS5 maker of purely ripping players off. And so far, it seems that this is actually kind of going through. Now, the big higher up story for this one is that there was a huge, massive lawsuit filed against Sony, and they were basically using their walled garden video game platform. I've never used the term walled garden before, but basically like just a very established, a really big install base, think PlayStation console users, to once again charge players just too much money on the PlayStation Store. The London Tribunal has now allowed that lawsuit to move forward and against the PlayStation 5 maker's objections, which could result in payments to players in the UK itself of up to $7.9 billion if it's ultimately successful. Now, first and foremost, that is an astronomical amount of money. Number one, because don't forget their most biggest acquisition was more on Bungie, which was like a $3 to $4 billion acquisition around there. Now, also compare that to maybe even like Bethesda. So think literally Starfield, like Fallout series, all those IPs. That was around, let's say, just $10 billion for easy math. So for this entire fine, Sony could have literally invested and bought an entire brand new huge AAA game studio if this actually ends up being successful. Now, the bigger thing too is that they try to kind of get this like thrown out in court and basically avoid this and get rid of these like preliminary injections when it comes to the court itself. Now, for when it comes to this, it seems like that did not go through. So the case began last August and basically claimed that anti-competitive practices by Sony allowed it to get away with charging a 30% commission on all sales in the PlayStation Store, rather than charging a smaller amount and passing the savings on to consumers. Now, this is kind of a big deal because I actually do have a pretty good UK viewer base over here. Like, I think most people who watch my videos are American. If you guys are American, let me know, or anywhere else. But when it comes to this stuff, we have a lot of people in the UK, and the people in the UK actually might be having a chance to get a somewhat substantial sum of money if this class action lawsuit actually does go through. This is ridiculous. It's like a lot of money. So Sony tried to get this case dismissed. So basically means in court themselves, they're trying to be like, hey, there's no way, we're just doing normal business, look at Xbox, look at Nintendo, or whatever it might be. But no, apparently right now, the Competition Appeal Tribunal sided actually against PlayStation and their platform holder, saying it failed to establish that the complaint has no reasonable grounds for making the claims and no real prospect of succeeding at trial. Now, this is like, imagine like you're talking to the government, like you're like talking like the big like SEC or like the Fed, and they're saying, hey, you have no reasonable grounds to not make this claim. You have no real prospect of succeeding at trial. Imagine you're in a legal court case, and that's what you get for the person who's most likely going to be a very, very big impactor on if you will or lose this whole thing. No real prospect of succeeding at trial. Imagine those words. Jeez. So that's nuts. Like basically right now, this looks like Sony's in a really bad spot. This is also PlayStation 2. It's basically a PlayStation lawsuit with the price points. So the case, brought by consumer advocate Alex Neal, will now proceed with the two sides arguing on its merits. Now, I want to remind you guys in this one, that doesn't mean that this is like already gone through. It doesn't mean that Sony is going to be losing instantly. It doesn't mean that if like you're in the UK or even America, you're going to go instantly get money. Because obviously it's like going to be like it's kind of like the initial stage where it's like, hey, is there actually a valid claim here? And then the court says, yes, this actually does seem valid. Sony's trying to say, no, it's not. Totally trust us. Here's our reasons why. And then people sit there, look at it, and think, nah, man, like let's get this court case going. You guys might actually have an issue, and we want to make sure our consumers are protected. So basically, what the lawsuit is taking issue with is the same thing that every modern gaming platform does: charging fees while blocking out competition. This lawsuit claims that by failing to allow third parties to sell directly on PlayStation Store, it's limiting competition and then also driving up prices for players. Now, this is also, once again, crazy news because this is like a triple whammy of them basically saying you're overcharging. So they're manipulating the market when it comes to gaming as a whole, which is always a big struggle. And, well, you don't want that. Like, as a consumer, you don't want to have to spend more money. As a consumer, you don't want to have a company basically go and like scheme you over and try to make more off you. But the bigger thing is that they're also not allowing third parties to sell. Now, that's a more intriguing one because that's basically like the idea of, hey, we're PlayStation. You want to go and sell, let's say, Stardew Valley, a very popular game. Sure, but it has to be $30 on our platform, only on our platform. Or as well, you have to have the same price matching on, say, Xbox and Steam. If you're going to do a sale on, say, Steam, you have to let us know so we can match it so we're not always the worst one. And while if there was maybe a normal game system, like let's say the people who made Stardew Valley can change their price anytime they want. Maybe they would at sometimes charge $20. Maybe the initial even sale price would be $20 instead of like a $30 recommended price that PlayStation has to somewhat approve, or whatever it might be. And this is one of those big things where basically PlayStation had a little bit of too much control and a little bit too much power, and this kind of lead to really big legal issues when it comes to this. Because like I said, if you can basically go and change the price on a whim, that allows more third-party competition. If you could basically go and allow anyone to sell any game they want, they don't have to necessarily worry about it like an approval process or the extra steps, and they'd probably be more incentivized to want to release more games on consoles. And sometimes if you have a game that's up for 5 different platforms, you may make it cheaper overall because you want to go for more quantity rather than quality of buys. Or sometimes, like you said, just want to make it cheaper regardless. And at the end of the day, I think that seems all around nice. So this is rough. So the big issue too as well is that there's been stuff all over the place. Like we're seeing some people actually maybe stating too as well that they might even have a really, really big return. So saying the class action lawsuit if we're involved anyone, including the UK, sometimes if we have these big legal issues, if they are proven in other countries, sometimes do get transitioned on over to places like, let's say, America. So keep that in mind. So basically, anyone who bought any content from PlayStation Store between August 19th, 2016 and August 19th, 2022, unless they choose to opt out for whatever reason, you probably shouldn't because most of the time they cannot legally go and close your account or hold it against you. So if the suit is successful, it is estimated each class member will get at least $67 and $562 before interest, although this may go take several years, and as well, they still have to legally win the case itself. But this kind of seems like if you guys are in the UK, you might get a bunch of free money. And as well, if you guys are in America, it's also something to maybe watch because, like I said, sometimes if there's a big class action lawsuit that can be proven, they will sometimes go and also litigate more so into other regions as well and also try to go win. So basically saying it's significant that the competition court has recognized Sony must explain its actions by ordering them to trial. With this action, we are seeking to put a stop to this unlawful conduct and ensure customers are compensated. So basically right now, Sony is being called out for being greedy. You actually might have a check coming out too if you guys are in this region in the next few years. And also, United States folks, be aware of this too as well. Give me your thoughts and comments and all the stuff down below. Once again, if you guys want to check out any of like the bunch of links down below, we have a lot of how links in the description and also in the comment section for things on sale for Black Friday, the holidays, Best Buy signups. We have really cool things when it comes to the Dyson fans. We have the brand new Samsung SSDs. We have video games, all linked down below. Technically a hashtag ad, and as well, technically a Best Buy partnership and other various partners too as well. So keep that in mind. We have the Twitter and Twitch if you guys want to follow, and I appreciate y'all so much for watching here in the first place.